Today we're digging into the story of Father James Katail. He was a Jesuit missionary. His work to empower the poor in India's Chotta Nagpur region, it ended in his brutal murder. His death created a legacy that, as you'll see, is stronger than ever.
So let's just start with the most powerful part of this entire story. These are the words Father Katail spoke as he was bleeding from mortal wounds just hours before he died. They kind of frame everything, right? Everything that came before and everything that followed. The question is, how did he get here?
To really understand those words of forgiveness, we have to go back to the moment of the attack itself. This was no random act of violence. It was planned.
What's so chilling here is just how cold and calculated this was. Look at the timeline. These weren't just some random thugs. They were hired killers who spent an entire hour probably gaining his trust before they came back to do the job. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong, not at all. It was a targeted assassination. Even then, what was his first instinct? In absolute agony, he rings the church bell to warn his community. It tells you everything you need to know about him.
This whole brutal, calculated attack leaves us with this one central question. What could a quiet priest in a really remote village have possibly done to make someone want him dead so badly? To find the answer, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning.
A martyr isn't just made overnight. To really get the man, we need to look at his journey, which was this long, deliberate preparation for a life of service.
He grew up in this serene little village in Kerala, part of a really religious and well-respected family. Even as a kid, he had this fascinating mix of traits. People said he was quiet, unassuming. He was also determined and absolutely not afraid to speak his mind when it counted. That quiet resolve, it would come to define his entire life.
Becoming a Jesuit missionary, that is a huge commitment. This slide just lays out the path. We're talking more than 13 years of intense spiritual, philosophical, and theological training before he was finally ordained. This incredible journey forged the discipline and the spiritual depth he was going to need for all the challenges waiting for him.
And this document right here, it anchors our whole story in cold, hard historical fact. It's an official letter from the Ranchi Jesuit Society, written just 2 days after the attack. It goes into detail about the frantic efforts to save him, the blood transfusions, and his eventual death. It really grounds these events in the historical record.
So, with more than a decade of training under his belt, where does he go? He chose one of the most difficult missions you could imagine, working with the indigenous people of Chotta Nagpur.
The community he gave his life to were the Adivasis. These are the tribal indigenous people of the area. At the time, they were just systematically oppressed, living in deep poverty with almost no access to education or any real opportunities. Here, you've got the antagonists of our story. The Adivasis were caught in this brutal system, totally controlled by powerful outsiders. You had zamindars, who were basically moneylenders, using these predatory loans to trap people in endless cycles of debt. You had the jagadars, the landlords, who controlled all the land and the people on it. It was a system built from the ground up for exploitation. Now, Father Katail didn't just show up offering charity. No way. He brought a blueprint for liberation. Just look at this multi-pronged attack. He improved schools, he started cooperatives to break the grip of those moneylenders, he trained young leaders, he even brought in better farming techniques. He wasn't just putting a band-aid on the problem, he was building a foundation for total social and economic freedom.
But here's the thing, this is the crucial point. His success wasn't celebrated by everybody. For the people who were doing the exploiting, empowering the Adivasis was a direct threat to their own power and their wealth.
This slide really lays out the conflict in stark terms, doesn't it? The old system needed people to be in debt, illiterate, and afraid. It thrived on their submission. What Father Katail was building was the exact opposite: self-reliance, education, something even more dangerous to the old guard: self-respect.
The sources actually call it the uprising of self-respect. Think about that. As the Adivasis started to stand up for themselves, to manage their own money, to educate their own kids, the landlords and the moneylenders saw their control, their whole system, just slipping away. They stopped seeing him as a priest and started seeing him as an enemy.
And let's be really clear, this wasn't some spontaneous reaction. The plot to kill him was premeditated. The sources are pretty clear that these powerful figures who were benefiting from the old system, they were planning to get rid of him long before he even got to Nuatana, the village where he was ultimately killed. So that brings us back to where we started, the aftermath of the attack. His killers, they might have ended his life. They absolutely could not end his mission. In fact, they may have accidentally guaranteed his success.
For almost 3 days, he clung to life in what must have been agonizing pain. Yet through all of it, he showed no anger, no desire for revenge. His only concern was for his people. His final act was one of complete forgiveness for the men who did this to him.
Now look at this. This data shows the powerful and, frankly, unexpected result of his death. Back in 1967, when he was killed, the parish had maybe 1,000 members. Today, it's over 4,000. It is more than quadrupled. His death didn't crush the community. It became the very seed from which it grew, inspiring the people he fought for.
And this slide, it just powerfully connects the past right to the present. On the left, you see Father Kotail. On the right, a letter from the Archbishop of Ranchi written over 50 years later, celebrating his life as an inspiration. His memory isn't just alive, it's being officially honored by the very institution that he served.
And the legacy, it goes way beyond just numbers. The place where he died has become a site of pilgrimage. Even more importantly, his story has inspired so many young people from that area to dedicate their own lives to service, to become priests and nuns. His life created this incredible ripple effect.
And so that's where we'll end it, with this. Father Kotail's story really forces us to face a tough question. He fought for justice, for the rights of the oppressed. The price he paid was his own life. His final act was forgiveness. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, about this profound link between justice, sacrifice, and grace. What is the true cost of making the world a better place?